Think of your mind as a garden, a place where everything you plant will eventually grow and flourish. Just as a gardener carefully selects seeds, prepares the soil, and nurtures the plants to bear fruit, you too must be mindful about what thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. If you continuously feed your mind with doubts, fears, and negative beliefs, these destructive thoughts will spread like weeds, choking out the potential for happiness, success, and peace. But when you intentionally plant seeds of positive, empowering thoughts, beliefs that lift you up and inspire you, your mind begins to cultivate a rich environment where confidence, creativity, and success can flourish. This garden metaphor is more than just a poetic way of speaking. It's a practical truth. Your mind responds to what you focus on consistently. If you dwell on failure, your mind becomes preoccupied with reasons why you cannot succeed, and this mindset influences your actions. You start to see obstacles everywhere, feel overwhelmed, and miss opportunities. Over time, this negative mental soil becomes hard and barren, making it difficult to grow anything new or good. On the other hand, when you nurture thoughts of hope, possibility, and strength, you open up fertile ground for growth. You become more resilient, more resourceful, and more motivated to pursue your goal. The important thing is that you get to decide what you plant in your mental garden. Your thoughts are not random or accidental. They are choices you make, often unconsciously. Becoming aware of the thoughts you consistently entertain is the first step toward changing the quality of your life. When you recognize patterns of negativity, you can actively choose to replace them with thoughts that serve your highest good. Also, just like a garden needs consistent care and attention, your mind requires regular feeding with positive influences. Reading inspiring books, surrounding yourself with uplifting people, practicing gratitude, and visualizing success are all ways to nourish your mental garden. Over time, these practices build a habit of positive thinking that becomes natural and effortless. It's important to understand that this doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it means focusing your mind on what empowers you to take action and grow. You aren't planting seeds of denial, but seeds of possibility. Even in difficult circumstances, you can cultivate thoughts that help you find solutions rather than dwell on problems. Ultimately, the state of your mental garden determines the quality of your life. A garden overrun with weeds won't produce good fruit. Similarly, a mind filled with negative, limiting beliefs will struggle to create a life of fulfillment and joy. But when you cultivate your thoughts carefully, you prepare the ground for a life full of opportunities, achievements, and happiness. You have the ability, right now, to choose what you plant in your mind's garden. You can decide to pull out the weeds of doubt and fear, and instead, nurture the seeds of confidence and hope. By doing so, you will create a mental environment that supports your growth and shapes your reality in powerful and positive ways. Let me know if you want me to expand on other points too. You said, expend key point 2 and 5. 100 words without heading and don't mention Tony Robbins in a key point, ChatGPT said. Certainly. Here's an expanded version of key point 2 in about 500 words, without headings and no mention of Tony Robbins. Every thought you entertain has the power to influence your future, because your mind is constantly working to turn your inner world into your outer reality. This isn't just a philosophical idea. It's a fundamental principle of how the brain functions and how human behavior is shaped. When you focus your thoughts on something repeatedly, whether it's a goal, a belief, or a fear, your brain starts to create neural pathways that make those thoughts more natural and automatic. Over time, these neural pathways guide your actions, decisions, and habits, which then build the reality you experience every day. For example, if you constantly think about success, achievement, and growth, your brain becomes attuned to spotting opportunities, resources, and solutions that align with those thoughts. You begin to approach challenges with confidence and resilience because your mindset is primed to expect positive outcomes. This creates a cycle where your optimistic thoughts lead to proactive behaviors, which in turn produce results that reinforce your belief in success. In this way, your thoughts set the foundation for the reality you live in. Conversely, if your mind is filled with doubts, fears, or limiting beliefs, you unknowingly create barriers to your own progress. Your brain becomes focused on what could go wrong, what's lacking, or why things won't work out. This can cause hesitation, anxiety, and a tendency to give up before even trying. When your thoughts revolve around failure or inadequacy, your actions reflect that mindset, often resulting in missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. Thus, negative thinking can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, keeping you stuck in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. It's important to understand that your brain doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. This means that when you mentally rehearse success, visualize your goals, or genuinely believe in positive outcomes, your brain responds as if those events are actually happening. This powerful mechanism is why visualization and positive affirmations can be so effective in shaping your future. They help train your mind to focus on possibilities rather than limitations, which then influences your behaviors and decisions in ways that bring those possibilities into reality. However, simply thinking positively isn't enough if it doesn't lead to action. Thoughts are the spark, but they must be followed by consistent effort and behavior aligned with your goals. When your thoughts and actions are in harmony, they create momentum that propels you forward. This combination of mental focus and deliberate action is what ultimately transforms your vision into real results. The key takeaway is that your thoughts are not passive or meaningless. They are active agents in the creation of your life. By becoming aware of what you think about most and intentionally directing those thoughts toward what you want, you can influence your future in powerful ways. Whether you realize it or not, your mind is constantly building your reality based on the beliefs and images you hold. The question is, are you consciously choosing thoughts that serve you, or are you allowing random and unhelpful thoughts to dictate the course of your life? Taking control of your thoughts means taking control of your future. The more you practice focusing on empowering, constructive ideas, the more your brain will adapt, and the more your reality will begin to reflect the life you truly desire. If you'd like, I can expand other points in a similar way. You said expend key point 3 in 500 words without heading and don't mention Tony Robbins in a key point, ChatGPT said. Certainly. Here's an expanded version of key point 3 in about 500 words without headings and no mention of Tony Robbins. Many people go through life without realizing how much control their thoughts have over their emotions, behaviors, and ultimately, their destiny. Most thoughts arise automatically, without conscious choice, and often, these default thoughts are negative or self-limiting. This lack of awareness means that people allow harmful beliefs and doubts to grow unchecked in their minds. These negative thought patterns become deeply ingrained, shaping how they see themselves, their abilities, and the world around them. When you are not aware of what you think, you become vulnerable to accepting a narrative that might be completely false and damaging. The danger lies in the fact that thoughts are incredibly powerful. They influence how you feel and how you act. If you think, "I'm not good enough," or "I will fail," these thoughts create feelings of fear, anxiety, and low self-esteem. Those feelings affect your actions, often leading to hesitation, avoidance, or giving up before trying. Over time, this cycle reinforces the belief that you are incapable, which then becomes your reality. This is why many people feel trapped, stuck, or helpless. They have allowed their minds to be controlled by unconscious, negative thinking habits. Becoming aware of your thoughts is the first crucial step in breaking free from this cycle. When you start to notice what you think about on a regular basis, you gain the power to challenge those thoughts. Awareness acts like a spotlight that exposes the limiting beliefs and stories you have been telling yourself. For example, you might catch yourself thinking, "I'm not smart enough to achieve this," and then consciously decide to question that thought. Is it really true? What evidence do you have that contradicts it? This questioning helps weaken the hold of negative thoughts and opens space for new, more empowering beliefs to take root. The process of gaining awareness requires practice. Mindfulness techniques, journaling, or simply pausing throughout the day to check in with your mind can help you become more conscious of your mental patterns. Over time, this habit of observation helps you recognize the difference between thoughts that serve your growth and those that hold you back. Once you are aware, the next step is to take control and choose which thoughts to nurture. This doesn't mean ignoring real challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means consciously focusing on thoughts that encourage problem solving, resilience, and growth. Instead of "I can't do this," shift to "what steps can I take to improve?" or "what resources can help me succeed?" This intentional shift in thinking rewires your brain and gradually transforms your mindset. In essence, many people live under the influence of unconscious negative programming, which shapes their reality without them even realizing it. But by developing awareness and actively managing your thoughts, you can break free from limiting beliefs and create a mental environment that supports your success and well-being. Your thoughts are not just fleeting moments in your mind. They are the architects of your life's story. Becoming the gardener of your own mind is a powerful step toward living a life on your own terms. Would you like me to continue with other points as well? You said, expend key point 4 in 500 words without heading and don't mention Tony Robbins in a key point. ChatGPT said, of course. Here's an expanded version of key point 4 in about 500 words without headings and no mention of Tony Robbins. You hold an incredible power within you, the power to change the story you tell yourself and to shift the thoughts that shape your life. Many people live as though they are trapped by circumstances, believing that the way things are now is the way they will always be. But this is simply not true. Your mind is not a prison. It is a dynamic tool that can be rewired and redirected. When you realize that you can choose the thoughts you focus on, you open the door to transforming your entire reality. Changing your story starts with awareness, recognizing the current narrative playing in your mind and understanding how it affects your feelings and actions. Often, people are unaware of the limiting beliefs that hold them back. These beliefs can be subtle but powerful, telling you things like "I'm not worthy," "I don't deserve success," or "I will never change." These thoughts create emotional barriers that stop you from trying new things, taking risks, or even believing that better is possible. But once you shine a light on these thoughts, you can begin to challenge and replace them. The power to change your story lies in your ability to consciously choose new, empowering thoughts that serve your growth and potential. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to be overly positive or ignoring problems. It means deciding to focus your mind on possibilities, solutions, and strengths instead of limitations and failures. When you make this choice, you begin to shift how you perceive yourself and the world around you. You start to believe that you are capable of change, worthy of success, and resilient in the face of setbacks. This shift in mindset leads to a ripple effect. As you think more empowering thoughts, your feelings improve and your confidence grows. You begin to take actions that align with your new beliefs. For example, if your old story was "I can't do this," your new story might be "I'm learning and growing every day." This new thought encourages you to keep trying, seek knowledge, and build skills. Over time, these actions produce different results, which reinforce your new mindset and propel you forward. Changing your story also means rewriting how you talk to yourself. Your inner dialogue is powerful because it shapes your self-image and motivation. If you constantly criticize yourself or focus on flaws, you weaken your confidence and drive. But if you speak words of encouragement, gratitude, and possibility, you strengthen your resilience and determination. This inner conversation can become a source of strength rather than a barrier. It's important to remember that this process requires patience and persistence. Old beliefs don't disappear overnight. They have been reinforced over years and often through many experiences. But with consistent effort, new thoughts can become your dominant way of thinking. The key is to keep choosing thoughts that empower you, even when it feels challenging. Ultimately, the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you can achieve shapes your reality more than any external factor. You are the author of your mental narrative, and by consciously rewriting it, you create the foundation for a more fulfilling and successful life. The power to change lies within your mind. Choose your thoughts wisely, and you will change your world. Would you like me to expand more points or help with anything else? You said, expend key point 5 in 500 words without heading and don't mention Tony Robbins in a key point. ChatGPT said, certainly. Here's an expanded version of key point 5 in about 500 words, without headings and no mention of Tony Robbins. Discipline and control over your mind are essential because your thoughts directly influence your emotions, behaviors, and the outcomes you experience. Many people underestimate just how important it is to actively manage what goes on inside their heads. The mind is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it requires training and focus to be effective. Without discipline, the mind tends to wander, often drifting toward unhelpful, negative, or distracting thoughts. These uncontrolled thoughts can sabotage your progress, weaken your confidence, and keep you stuck in patterns that don't serve you. Having control over your mind means becoming the deliberate gatekeeper of your thoughts. It means recognizing that not every thought deserves your attention or belief. Instead of letting random or negative ideas dominate your mental landscape, you choose which thoughts to nurture and which to dismiss. This takes practice because the mind naturally gravitates toward familiar patterns, especially those that have been repeated over time. Negative thoughts can become habitual, popping up automatically without any conscious effort. To break free from these habits, you need mental discipline, a consistent practice of observing your thoughts and redirecting them when necessary. The quality of your thoughts is directly linked to the quality of your life. If your mind is filled with doubts, fears, and pessimism, it creates an internal environment that makes it difficult to take positive action. On the other hand, when your thoughts are focused on solutions, possibilities, and growth, you set the stage for productive behavior and meaningful change. This is why it's so important to cultivate a mindset that supports your goals and well-being. Developing this mental discipline often begins with self-awareness. You need to become attuned to the thoughts that arise in different situations and notice how they affect your feelings and actions. Once you are aware, you can start to interrupt negative thought patterns and replace them with empowering alternatives. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," you can pause and reframe it to, "I'm learning and I can improve with effort." This simple shift requires discipline because it goes against the automatic nature of negative thinking. Another important aspect of mental discipline is consistency. Like any muscle, your mind becomes stronger and more flexible through regular exercise. Daily habits such as meditation, affirmations, journaling, or mindful breathing can help you build greater control over your thoughts. Over time, these practices create a mental environment where positive, empowering thoughts become the default. Control over your mind doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring difficult emotions or realities. It means managing your responses and choosing thoughts that serve your highest good, even in challenging circumstances. When you discipline your mind, you gain clarity, focus, and the resilience needed to navigate life's ups and downs. Ultimately, guarding your mind is one of the most valuable investments you can make. The thoughts you allow to dominate shape your beliefs, decisions, and actions, and therefore your life. By committing to mental discipline and control, you ensure that your mind becomes a powerful ally in creating the life you desire rather than an obstacle that holds you back. Would you like me to expand the final key point or assist with anything else? You said, expend key point 6 in 500 words without heading and don't mention Tony Robbins in a key point. ChatGPT said, certainly. Here's an expanded version of key point 6 in about 500 words without headings and no mention of Tony Robbins. Thoughts alone, no matter how powerful or positive, will not create change unless they are matched by action. Your thoughts provide the blueprint, the vision of what you want to build, but it is through deliberate and consistent action that your reality is shaped and transformed. This connection between thought and action is critical because without action, thoughts remain ideas or wishes and your life stays the same. To truly shape your reality, you must take the insights, beliefs, and intentions in your mind and translate them into concrete steps that move you forward. When your thoughts and actions align, they create momentum. Momentum is the force that keeps you moving even when challenges arise or motivation dips. Each small action you take reinforces your beliefs and builds confidence. For example, if you think, I want to be healthier, but never exercise or eat well, your thoughts remain disconnected from reality. However, when you start making healthy choices, going for walks, cooking nutritious meals, and resting properly, those actions strengthen your mindset, making the idea of being healthy feel more achievable and real. Consistency is key. It is not a single grand action, but repeated small steps that lead to lasting change. Many people wait for the perfect moment or perfect plan, but waiting often leads to inaction. The truth is that action creates clarity. When you take steps toward your goals, you learn, adjust, and grow. The feedback you receive from action sharpens your focus and deepens your commitment. This cycle of thought, action, and adjustment is the engine of progress. Taking aligned action also builds resilience. When you act with intention, you prepare yourself to face obstacles with greater strength. Challenges become opportunities to learn rather than reasons to quit. Your thoughts about success and possibility fuel your perseverance, but your actions carry you through difficulties. Each action taken is a declaration that you believe in your ability to create change, reinforcing a positive self-image. Another important aspect is that action attracts resources and opportunities. When you start moving toward a goal, people notice, doors open, and unexpected help can appear. This is because action signals to the world, and to your own subconscious, that you are serious and committed. It activates networks and energies that remain dormant when you stay passive. It's also essential to be mindful about the quality of your actions. Action without purpose or alignment with your true goals can lead to burnout or frustration. That's why regularly checking in with your thoughts and intentions is important. Are your actions supporting the reality you want to create? Are they in line with your core values and vision? When you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions, you become unstoppable. In summary, your thoughts serve as the blueprint, but your actions are the bricks and mortar that build your reality. Without action, your thoughts remain potential. When you combine clear, positive thinking with consistent, purposeful action, you harness the true power to shape your life. This is where transformation happens. Through the union of mindset and movement, vision and effort, dreams and deeds.